Welcome to Allie's Attic, where you never know what kind of surprise you'll find in my attic. I'm your host, Allie, and today my surprise is a gentleman that has been heard on radio stations around the world, showcasing his rocky acoustic style, inviting vocals, and expressive lyrics. Please welcome Shaun Bryant. Hello, Shaun.
Hey Ali, how are you?
Good question. Is it Shaun C. Bryant or just Shaun Bryant?
Well, I actually have two personas. The musical persona is Shaun C. Bryant, which is my middle initial. I'm also Shaun Bryant for my day job.
Okay.
I'm quite well known in the computer industry, so I kind
Ah.
of have to have two.
Okay, so we'll Shaun C. Bryant. There we go. Okay, now that we know. Now you have been quickly gaining popularity and are coming out. Have you come out with your? Yes, you have. You've come out with 3 a.m. in the
That's right. Yep.
morning, right?
Yep.
And then now
Yep.
you're working on Midnight in Paris.
Yeah, it might not be called Midnight in Paris. That's a work in progress at the moment. The first album came out June 2012, so I've kind of been, well, I've been doing a lot. My life has been kind of crazy since that album came out, actually, and that's not purely from a musical perspective. Been through a lot of personal stuff in the last few years. Basically, we lost my kid's mum in 2014.
Oh my
Um,
goodness!
yeah, she was my ex-wife at the time. So, but again, a very big shock. Wasn't expected. So there's been a lot of family stuff that's kind of gone on, and the benefit I have is that my two kids are doing absolutely brilliantly. My lovely daughter is at university in London, and my son is currently pursuing a course in the performing arts. So I'm kind of pleased, with both their courses and careers so far. They're doing brilliantly,
Wow.
and they're absolutely great. So
I'm so
life is good in
sorry.
that department.
Yeah, that is awful. I'm glad they're doing well. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. Sorry.
No,
Um,
no, you're fine. It's one of those things that it happens, you get through it, and you carry on moving. And I don't mean that to sound callous in any way. One of the things I'm a big believer in is, especially recently, is believing in the moment. I've gone through lots of different things personally in the last few years as well, and one of the things I've started to do is meditate, which I'm in my 40s, and meditation for me was something very very new, and it's wonderful. I use a little app on my phone called Headspace, written by an English guy called Andy Puddicombe, and it's fantastic. I do my little 10 minutes of meditation every day, and it makes a huge difference to how you view things. And being in the present is what it's all about.
wow, that is cool.
So life is very different now, compared to when I wrote that first album. That first album was quite edgy. There's quite a lot of classic rock type stuff in there. There's the usual rock ballad on there and all that kind of stuff as well.
Okay.
Um, The second album, we can call it Midnight in Paris, is a work in progress. Another possible title that I'm looking at is Another Trip Around the Sun as well. And we'll decide that closer to the release and everything, and go through all the motions of working out the song order and everything else later on. But the second album's quite introspective, and there's some stuff on there that is there's a song on there called Here, for example, which is a very, very moody ballad that I wrote during a very introspective time in my life. And there's stuff on there that is very much me. Heart on my sleeve, just kind of, well, it's kind of my therapy music anyway. So this is, you're kind of listening to my therapy. I know that sounds kind of strange, but
No,
that's kind of where it is.
and it
So.
makes perfect sense. And I can't wait for it to come out now. And now you're also working with your new producer and co-writer, Adam Harrell of Cowbell Recordings.
That's it. Yeah, Adam's great. The one good thing about Adam is he's younger than me, and he's a lot younger than me. He's in his 30s, and what I really like about what he's done with my sound, both vocally and musically, is he's made it very contemporary and given it a really nice. The way I would say is given it a lovely texture. It's a little bit. it's kind of got that nice rough edge to it, but there's a little bit of refinement in there as well. And one of the things we've been working really hard at is a vocal recording technique called comping or compositing. And what you do is, with today's technology, basically I'm recording 6 versions of every line of every song, and we're then compositing all the best bits and then kind of tidying it all up to make it sound the best it can. Because no matter what you do, if you sing a song all the way through, there's going to be pitchy bits, there's going to be bits that are slightly out of key. And I'm not a big believer in things like auto tune and Melodyne and all those things that they use to make everybody sound a bit squeaky nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather have a real vocal, so that's where compositing comes in. And it's made a fantastic difference to my vocal performance on the album tracks.
Okay.
So I'm really, really pleased about that because Adam's very innovative like that. To give you an example, on the How Long Will I Love You track that we're going to hear, which is a cover version, there's a lovely piano piece going on in that song, and Adam plays the keys on that. But he actually basically put what they call a plug-in into the recording application that actually replicated the sound of the piano pedals being pressed. And that's where the technology is nowadays. It's wonderful, and Adam just has this amazing ability to make me sound good, which for me is great.
Yeah, I
Because
would imagine. Yeah.
I'm yeah, I mean, I'm not a perfect musician. My voice sometimes isn't as great as it could be. My guitar playing has its moments. I think every guitar player has their moments where they think, "Yep, that sounded awful." So been there, done that lots of times. But the nice thing is we're in and out of the studio at the moment. We haven't done much over Christmas. I'm just recovering from the flu. Actually, I've had the worst flu I've had probably in about 6 years. It totally wiped me out over Christmas,
Oh no, not good at
and
Christmas.
I think this is the first day that my voice has sounded normal since about the week before Christmas. So
Wow.
I'm feeling a lot better today as well in myself. But it's still there, but it's not as
Not as bad.
obviously as not as horrendous as it was. But yeah, we've got another cover coming through on the album as well. There's a great band out there that are really, really good friends of mine. They're a husband and wife duo, Tommy and Laurie Harden, and they're a band called Lost Hollow. And I discovered them purely by chance at a music networking event in London and got chatting to Tommy. And Tommy has worked on TV shows like Nashville and all this kind of stuff. And they're a wonderful couple, but musically, they are absolutely damn well incredible. They are really quite amazing. They were a real find for me musically to listen to.
Hmm.
And there's one particular song on their latest EP called I Am. And I asked their kind permission if I could replicate it on the album, and they were more than pleased. So that's going to be the next track. We've got the backing track done. I've just got to get over to Adams now and record the vocal. So that'll be around soon. And then fingers crossed, I think we've only got 2 more songs to do this year before we have a finished album, a finished body of work. And then obviously we've got to do all the production side of it and making sure that everything sounds good. And then fingers crossed there'll be a body of work out hopefully before the summer of this year.
Nice. I can't wait. Now, how long have you been doing this? Like, when did you decide this is what I'm gonna do? And that's what, like, how old were you?
Well, giving away my age now completely. I'm 48 now. I started doing this when I was 36, so 12 years in total. I was actually going through a difficult divorce and bought myself a guitar way back when, and just started learning a few chords and so on and so forth. And everything kind of just fell into place. It became a very good pastime for me to take my mind off of things that were going on in my personal life at the time. And I started writing. I met the producer of my first album who encouraged me to write and create, and he recorded that album for me. Um, and it went on from there really. And I started very late. I knew I could sing reasonably well because I did the school choir thing back in the day when I was at school. So I kind of knew how to project my voice and things like that. but didn't realise I had a kind of rock voice until much later when I was, in my 30s. And the one thing I will say to anybody who has that penchant to sing, to create, to write, don't ever let your age hold you back. I've had a wonderful journey doing this, and it's my passion. It's not my day job. My day job is totally different. It's computers and California and San Francisco and that kind of thing. But that's another story entirely.
Hmm.
But basically, the music is such a wonderful thing, and I'm really lucky because a lot of the people that I work with in my day job are also musicians.
Oh.
Yeah, we have a big conference that we go out to in Las Vegas every year, and normally November. So we were out there last November, and what we do is we just rent a rehearsal space and just disappear for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours and just kind of jam and sing whatever we want. And we had some great fun. We had things going on like "Hit Me with Your Best Shot" by Pat Benatar, "Sharp Dressed Man" by ZZ Top going on. Um,
Nice.
yeah, one of my colleagues, he's always wanted to come along to this band session that we do, and basically he brought a bottle of bourbon with him that had disappeared by within an hour. Um, and basically that then became the cowbell.
Oh.
So he ended up playing cowbell, and then ended up with loads of videos on Twitter of him playing cowbell at the conference and stuff. That's what it's like. It's just a bunch of guys having a lot of fun, jamming to good classic music. None of this Justin Bieber stuff. Um,
Don't
you
mention
know,
him. He's Canadian.
I know he's Canadian. I've got a number of Canadian friends who it's like, oh no, don't mention Bieber.
Yeah, we all say that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, whatever. Whatever. He's Justin Bieber and people love him and that's terrific. We will get off the Justin Bieber. Okay, anyways, go on.
Well, that's the way it is. I can't knock him for his success or his popularity. I can safely say that his music is definitely not my taste.
Yeah, mine either.
So, and
Um,
that's the way it is.
yeah.
Everybody has their choices. I mean, my 16-year-old son blares Kanye West out of his speakers, and I have to shut his bedroom door. So
Hmm.
it's just the way it is.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, my grandson loves rap, and my granddaughter is into the younger boys like Charlie Puth and stuff like that. But even they don't like Justin Bieber. Anyways, okay,
Oh
poor
yeah.
Justin. Let's get off Justin. We'll stop picking on him. Okay, so you've been doing this for 12 years now, and you do it well. And I would love to come to Vegas and jam with you guys. Not that I can sing, play an instrument, anything, but I think I can like hit a bourbon bottle, so I can maybe do the cowbell.
Absolutely,
Now,
absolutely. This friend of mine was so made up that he was able, because the year before he couldn't make it because he got quite ill while he was there. I think he got food poisoning of all things or something, if I remember
oh,
rightly.
okay.
And he couldn't come along, and he was really upset that he couldn't make it the year before. So
Aw, well, at least he got to this, and he got to participate, which is even better. Um, Now you're known as SCB on your website, correct?
yes, yes, I am, and that's the same in my day job as well. I'm known as SCB. So.
Okay, that's cool. Um, so if you had any kind of advice, Shaun, to give a new artist that was starting out, um, besides don't be Justin Bieber, what would it be?
I would say have absolute faith in yourself. One of the things I've suffered from in my life is sometimes a lack of confidence. If you ever meet me, and you can hear in my voice that I'm quite confident. That's because in my day job I have to present sometimes to hundreds of people and things like that.
Hmm.
But deep down, I still get those nerves. I always will. But will I get it right? Will I mess it up? Will I fall off the stage? Whatever. And I was in a covers band for a little while when I first started doing all of this, locally in Norwich in the UK. And the one thing it taught me was it really, really doesn't matter if you make a slight mistake, let's say on a chord progression, or you get a word wrong. As long as you don't bring attention to it, just have faith that people are there to enjoy the music. They're not there to spot you getting a word wrong.
Hmm.
And just have that faith in yourself to go out there, perform, but most importantly, have fun. That's the thing. Have fun, have faith, and just enjoy yourself. And if you are going to be, let's say, I'm going to mention his name again now, the next Justin Bieber, for example,
Mm-hmm.
you'll get found, you'll get discovered, and it's a case of working hard, having the faith in yourself, and if it's going to happen, it will. If it's not going to happen, don't worry about it. Go and enjoy the music.
Wow, that is great advice. It is. Have fun doing whatever you do. Now, we're going to hear two songs from you. You've already mentioned one, How Long Will I Love You?
Hmm.
The other one we're going to hear is Belong.
Hmm.
Now, do you want to, well, is How Long Will I Love You is a cover?
It is a cover version, yeah. It's originally by a band called the Waterboys,
Mm,
who did oh wow, something the moon has gone out of my head completely now. The Whole of the Moon, that's it. That was probably their most famous track. That did well both in the USA and in the UK.
mm-hmm.
But How Long Will I Love You is a very, very special song for me. I recorded it for my kids for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, the song itself was used for a big charity event we have here in the UK in 2012, called Children in Need. And Ellie Goulding, you may have heard of her.
Yes.
She did a version of it, and mine is very very close to that version.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
the original How Long Will I Love You by the Waterboys has quite a folky sound to it,
Okay.
and it was featured in a Richard Curtis film called About Time, who did things like Love Actually and Four Weddings and a Funeral.
Mm,
And it was featured in this movie About Time, and there's a really good folky version in there too as well.
wow.
But it's just a very special song, and funnily enough, I heard it quite close to the time, when everything happened, and I just immediately thought of my kids when I heard it, and it was like, wow, I need to record this. So I got talking to Adam. He came out with a wonderful, wonderful backing track for it, and one of the nicest things somebody has ever said to me about my vocals was there's a particular nuance in the last line of the song, and as Adam was mixing it for me, he said, when I hear your vocal on those last two lines, it still brings a lump to my throat now, even all this time after we recorded it. And for
Wow.
me, that means I did the song right.
Yeah, definitely. Now, the song Belong, what is that about?
That's, funnily enough, that's my homage to Foreigner, strangely enough,
I
the
love
band.
Foreigner.
It was I recorded that one with my first producer, and it was one of the last songs we recorded together. And we were just messing around with some lyrics and some riffs, and all of a sudden the riff kicked in for that starts the song off, and it was like, oh, that's a bit foreigner like. Let's continue with that kind of sound, and it just kicked in, and the lyrics were already there. I'd created the lyrics quite some time before, but we were just trying to find a nice riff to hold it all together. And Belong is just one of those songs for me that just kind of says, yep, you belong, you just keep going, you keep fighting, keep pushing forward. And the song is just one of those ones that I hope people listen to and apply to their own lives as well.
Awesome. And what a great band, Foreigner. Their best album, Hot Shots. Anyway, I'll get off the Foreigner subject, along with Justin Bieber. Shaun, you have your own distinct style, and as soon as you hear music by you, you know it's you. And that is one of the things I love the best about artists is when you hear them, you know it's them. Um, the lines are a little blurred, I think, now in mainstream radio, and you're like, is that the same guy that was just on, or is that a different guy? And it drives me crazy. So I love the distinction, and you have it. And I love your lyrics of your songs. I just love your songs, period. And I'm so glad that you came on my show. And I think too, the best songwriters are the ones that have gone through hell and back and can sit down and put it to paper. And I'm looking forward to your new album because I think it would be nice to hear how you sound with your heart on your sleeve and it being about you, because it should be about you and about things that you've gone through. And the great thing about songwriting is it will relate to somebody somewhere that has gone through a similar experience or knows exactly or applies it to whatever is going on in their life. So please make sure you get a hold of me when that new album comes out so that I can either put it up on my website, one single at a time, or have you come back on and talk about it, because that would be amazing. And thank you so much for coming on my show. I appreciate it so much.
You're more than welcome. More than welcome. This is probably the first radio show I've been on for a while, actually, and it's a pleasure to be here. It's nice to chat to people about the music and obviously explain what's behind it as well. One of the things I was taught quite a long time ago about music was to be journalistic and to tell a story, be a storyteller. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there's too much, like you say, mainstream stuff out there now, where you hear one song and then you hear another song and that sounds the same.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
another thing that I would recommend to any songwriter, performer, artist, singer who's coming up the ranks now, be individual, be that little bit different. A prime example right now of someone who, funnily enough, started off very close to where I live, a place called Framlingham, is Ed Sheeran,
I love him.
and he's totally unique.
Mm-hmm.
His style was totally different, and he's great. I think he's doing amazingly well for himself at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, the guy's just got engaged as well. So congratulations, Ed.
Yes,
And
congratulations.
you know, when you see someone like that literally start from busking on the streets of Norwich, where I live, all the way to now playing 50, 60,000 stadiums in Glastonbury, well, good luck to the guy.
Yeah, and the great thing about him is he still looks like he probably did when he was busking. He's
He sure
not letting
does.
anybody
He sure does. Yeah,
commercialize him, and I love that. Now we can purchase your music online as well as your website, which is ShaunCBryant.com. And I urge everybody, it'll be up on my website. You just click on it and you go to Shaun's website. Go and find out more about SCB. There's lots, lots, lots. And there's a lot more music to discover as well. So, Shaun, once again, thank you for coming on my show and don't be a stranger.
absolutely. More than happy to come back, talk about the new album when it's ready as well.
Okay, great. And thank you for joining me on Allie's Attic. Keep checking my website because you never know what kind of surprise you'll find in my attic. Cheers.